Perfect. Okay, welcome everybody. Look at this. The food works. Amazing.
Offer them food, they will come.
That's right. Food really works. Um, has anybody noticed lately that people have really been getting sick?
Yeah,
A lot. There seems to be more sick
yeah.
people with all kinds of this, the RSV, and the COVID, and then this one, and then that one. It's like constant, right? Um, we live in a very sick society. You know, it's like the hospitals are overflowing. It's hard to get an appointment. It's hard to even get on the phone with a medical doctor these days, right? Um, something's wrong. Something's really wrong. Why are people so sick? Well, anyway, um, as we get older, we start realizing how important our health is. It's the most important thing we have, right? There's our well, you know what? Well, there's our relationships, right? The people who we care about and love in our lives. Maybe that's number one. And for some people, their relationship with God's number one. But if you're not feeling well, how well can you be there for other people?
You can't.
You can't. And when the people in your life are sick, that doesn't feel that doesn't feel good at all, right? If your children are sick or your parents are sick.
Yeah, you're worried.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no good, you know. So anyway, we're going to talk about how your immune systems work, so you have a better understanding, and maybe you could possibly do something to be healthier and happier. All right, and not only that, once you understand this better, then you can bring that to your family as well. All right. So, does anybody, when we talk about inflammation, all right, there's a short-term inflammation and there's long-term inflammation. Right. Short-term inflammation is actually good. Like if you cut yourself, right, and it gets all pussy, that's a good thing, isn't it? It's like it's cleaning it out. Your body's like cleaning out whatever that is, the germs, right? Um, but think about this. What if you cut yourself and it was all pussy and you didn't clean it out and you just covered it? What would happen?
The infection will go inside.
Exactly. Can you all see that? Right? If you covered an infection and you didn't clean it, it would start to internalize, right? And then you get really sick. So that's what we're talking about with chronic long-term inflammation. It's inflammation that starts affecting how our whole body functions, and it's really it's what causes sickness and disease. And what we're going to be talking about is how we treat sickness in our society now that actually causes inflammation. And then we eat causes inflammation. We're doing all these things that are making us sicker and sicker. We don't even realize it. We have no idea. All right. So when we're in pain, pain is usually due to inflammation. All right. Hey, Peter. Hi, have a seat.
Sorry, Doc.
It's all right. Yeah. Yeah, grab a chair. All right. Pain due to inflammation and sickness, and we just get stuck in a cycle. People are just getting sicker and sicker from this inflammation in their body. All right. Um, when we look at this chart right here, 30.3 million people have diabetes. This is in that country, obviously. 14.7 cancer, 25.4 is heart disease. All right. And this big thing right here, more people living with chronic pain than anything else. I mean, that's like a huge amount of people living with chronic pain. So we're going to talk a little bit more about inflammation. So let's say we have a germ, right? And what the body does is it recognizes, hey, there's a germ. That's your immune system. Sends a message to your immune system, and attack is launched. All right, so we're going to fight that germ, and antibodies are produced to fight that particular germ. Okay. This will cause an inflammatory response. You could have redness, swelling, heat, pain as a result. Okay. Now, that's what a fever is too. So let's go back with that. So inflammation is your body's response to stress. So is that stress just a germ? Not always. All right. Sometimes the stress is just stress. Stress itself will cause inflammation in the body. And it lets you know that you're in danger. All right. Now, oh, there you go. So you know what I do when I'm stressed? I eat.
A lot of people do.
That's a lot of people. All right. So we live in a society that we don't want to be uncomfortable. All right. So who here deals with sinus things every once in a while? Anybody have sinus problems? Yep. Oh, that's right. Headaches. Do we like having a fever? And let me ask a question right now. Is a fever unhealthy?
No.
Diane, you say no?
No,
Why is that?
because it's, you know, attacking
Exactly.
the germ or whatever's in you.
Exactly.
No, it creates an environment that's not inherently, it dies off.
It kills the germs, basically, right? Is vomiting unhealthy?
Not if you gotta get rid of it.
Yeah. Because you eat some lo mein, you end up with ptomaine, and you're puking your guts out. So it's actually a good thing, all right? So a lot of times these uncomfortable things that our body's going through, that actually means that we're healthy. All right. Now, when we talk about sinuses and headaches and fever and vomiting, all these things, people don't want to feel uncomfortable. So let's go back. Let's just go back a step and think about when you cut yourself and it's all pussy and you cover it without cleaning it up and how it internalizes, right? So what we do when we take an Advil and we have a headache, okay, or we take something to stop our fever or stop the vomiting, or something to supposedly clear our sinuses. Actually, the sinus medications, what it does, it just dries it out and cakes it up. So now you have all this like dried out mucus in your sinuses. All right. So what we're doing is we start internalizing. And this is what causes this inflammation. Am I making sense?
Yes.
All right. So instead of letting our bodies take its course and do what it needs to do, we're stopping what it needs to do and really clean and cleanse and do what it has to do. And this is such a cause of illness right now. You'd be surprised. Like, there's another workshop I have of a woman who had to have this operation in Germany, and she was from here. And the doctors there didn't want to give her all this Advil and all these things to stop the pain. And she says, Doc, give me the pain reliefs. I don't want to feel this. But he says, don't you understand that your body needs to rest? And that if we give you these medications, it's going to actually keep your body from healing. And you have to heal. You have to just let your body heal. All right. So we're talking about short-term and long-term inflammation. Everybody understands the difference between those two. Studies show persistent inflammation can contribute to most chronic diseases and sicknesses. All right, so this is very interesting. And this is what I was talking about in the office. So there was a study done. This was in 1975. I actually had the pleasure of meeting this Ronald Perot. And what he did studies of the DNA that were responsible for your immunity. Okay. And what he did, this is people with cancer who are really sick. This was the measure of their immunity. This was just a general population, but people not under chiropractic care. So they were 200% stronger than the sick people. And then these are people in the long-term chiropractic care. All right. 400% greater than the average person. 400% greater than the sick people, 200% better than the average population. So I'm going to come back to this for a second. So one of the main reasons this happens is that the nervous system, okay, is broken up into two parts. There's the autonomic nervous system, right, which is everything we do automatically. And there's the voluntary nervous system, which is everything we do, voluntarily. Like we could do this. But the autonomic is everything like our digestion, our heart, the way the whole body works. Now that's broken up into two things. Kathy, what are they?
What?
She's
I was listening.
in the back of the room.
No,
All right.
no, I heard something.
I'm just teasing. Kathy's heard this a million times. I think we should know it.
No, I didn't hear your question because I was
Oh,
concentrating.
all right.
Sound I'm hearing over here.
She's leaving. All right. So we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And the sympathetic is the stress response to the fight or flight. Okay. The parasympathetic is rejuvenation, relaxation, and repair. All right. So when our nervous system is in the stress response, when it's in the fight or flight, the body sees that's a low priority to be fighting a germ or even a cancer cell if it thinks a bear is chasing you. Right? So your nervous system is in survival. So things like a cancer cell or a germ, it's not important, because we don't want the bear to kill us. So all the energy goes into that survival and it gets taken away from our immune system. Have you ever noticed that when people are really stressed for long periods of time, they get sick? Has anybody experienced that themselves? All right. Now you understand why. Okay. You're losing that life force. All right. So you're not able to fight it the same way. So what the adjustments do, every time you get adjusted, we're balancing that sympathetic and parasympathetic. All right. People think they come here to get out of pain. All right. Okay, which is great. All right. But in my experience, most people are in pain because they've been in sympathetic stress for a long time. And what does the sympathetic stress do? It tightens everything up. It also, what do we say before? When you're in the sympathetic stress, you also have high inflammation. So when you're getting adjusted, we're releasing the subluxations. We're getting your body out of the survival mode. All right. So it could actually repair and rejuvenate itself and fight the good fight, you know? Fight those cancer cells, fight. And that's why this all worked. This is why these people's immune system is so much stronger. All right. It's also why people in the chiropractic care generally, has anybody experienced that they're less stressed since they've been getting adjusted? Right? Sharon talks about she doesn't have road rage anymore. Right? Very rarely. Right? It's a good thing you don't have a gun in your glove compartment. All right, good. But that's what we're looking at. You know, so you know, again, people thinking that, oh, you come to the chiropractor, get cracks so your neck feels better. And yeah, of course we want you to feel better, but we want everything to be working better. All
And
right.
only 10% of the nerves feel pain.
Right. So
So-
you could be subluxated and you have no idea. All
You
right.
won't feel it, yeah.
You wouldn't feel it. So, you know, unfortunately, often a lot of people say, oh, I feel better, I don't have to come anymore. But it doesn't mean that they're not subluxated.
Only 10%.
Only 10% of the nerves perceive pain. The other 90% are for function. Yeah. So, you know, and really the whole thing is keeping your body out of that stress response. That's what's so important. And that's what gives us that strength. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
When I retired, I got a lot less stress.
Yeah.
I don't have a job anymore.
Right.
But I was a little stressed at first because I didn't have a job. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Because you're used
Because
to,
you work for 50 years.
you kind of lose, you don't have that.
Your body, you know, you're not
Yeah.
working every day.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm kind of scared of it myself. I know when COVID came, right? Me and Diane,
Yeah.
I didn't want to stop work. They wanted me to close the place down. I said, okay, come and close it down. I ain't closing it down. I'm going to keep working. And also because I want to help people.
Sure.
So this is very important too. So you know how when I work on your head, some of you have been doing cranial work when your body's ready. That actually increases the flow of the cerebral spinal fluid. Now, one of the things that the cerebral spinal fluid does is it clears inflammation from the brain, which is linked to dementia and Alzheimer's. All right. This is a study that there's called cytokine IL-6. Anyway, that's an inflammatory marker in the blood. And again, there was a study that showed that people in the chiropractic care had lower incidences of that cytokine 6. All right. So this is something that I want to talk about because it really is important, is that a lot of the food that we eat causes inflammation. All right. And I hate to tell you what those foods are, but we're going to talk about that.
Sauce. Tomato sauce is like supposed to be.
Yeah, because it's a
inflammatory.
inflammatory because it's a nightshade.
Oh.
Yeah, so a lot of nightshades, unfortunately.
I see.
You just finished that.
And I did. And I almost was going to have pasta.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And pasta's the worst. You know, it's not the worst. So carbs generally. So let's talk it. So sugar causes inflammation right off the bat. All right. So sugar causes inflammation. How much sugar does the average person eat in this country? It's insane. You know,
Or if you have candy.
candy. You know what's the worst is it's, you know, like a Coke, soft drinks.
It's in just about everything. So,
It's in about just about everything.
I mean, I don't use no sugar from off the counter, just whatever sugar of foods I eat.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much sugar, and it's inflammatory.
Soda.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah, so
worse.
really bad.
I mean, and they cookies, so you know, all that stuff. So there's sweets, all right. And this country lives on. I mean, you know, they live on sweets. This is causing inflammation. This is makes people really sick. All right. All grains turn into sugar.
Does oatmeal?
Yes, however, like oatmeal, it's broken down very slowly.
Okay.
So your body's able to metabolize it better.
When it breaks it down to heat.
Like, would quinoa be a better option?
Yeah,
Yeah, I get.
yeah, quinoa is actually, it's a fruit, I believe. It's not a grain.
Or if there's some sugars that are better for you than other sugars.
Well, definitely, I
Like
mean,
honey,
like what?
like honey. Yeah.
Yeah, like honey and also, fructose. I mean, those things are important. We need some carbs, and we do need some sugars. But the body breaks those down a lot different than they do, a Coke.
Well, Americans are in love with sugar
Yeah,
because it's in everything.
it's and it's an
They know that.
and it's addictive. All right.
Yeah.
What we said, we're 48% in health. We're 48 in health of industrialized nations, the richest country in the world. More money goes into our healthcare. It's like beyond control. But look why, people are on all these drugs, which could be causes inflammation. My mom is going to be 95 this year.
Oh, God bless her.
All right. And still with a clear head. She plays bridge like 3 days a week. She lives in the house I grew up in. And there's 17 stairs upstairs. And somehow she gets up there every day. Right. And you ask her, what pharmaceuticals you're on. Nothing.
Well, that's why she's living.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though she does like her cookies and warm milk every night before she goes to bed. My mother could be smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. She'd probably still be doing it. Some of us do have those genetics. I'm hoping that maybe I got
And then
them.
what about like artificial sweeteners? How does that?
Okay, so that's a good question. Artificial sweeteners actually trick your body into producing the sugar. Yeah. Yeah, so it has the same effect as the sugar, plus it's a chemical. And I do believe that some of them are proven to, really be bad for you.
I thought, can we use like stevia and stuff, right?
Yeah, stevia is bad.
Leo, when Dr. Lester sees my diet soda, he asks me why I'm drinking a bottle of poison.
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't make you. It's not diet. It doesn't. You might as well just drink the soda. Because it's not going to keep your weight off or anything like that.
We hear a lot about gluten now.
Yeah,
I guess people get there's allergies from that or something.
yeah, but that gluten is very inflammatory,
Isn't the wheat sprayed with things that cause this?
and that's the other thing too. Because in Europe, people who can't eat grains here go to Europe and they could eat the
Right.
grains and they feel fine.
Your food's poison.
Yeah.
And it's in everything. And especially like you talked about previously, like the vegetable oils and all that too.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. Vegetables oils. That's another poison. The vegetable oils cause a huge amount of inflammation. And it sounds like, all this stuff, but I'm telling you, if you don't eat it, you'll feel better. Like your energy will be better. Your immune system will be better. You'll feel better. It's like not, we think that we need this stuff, and then when you don't have it, you feel much better. Right? And I do walk that talk,
You do.
and I'm hitting 70 soon, and you guys see what I do all day. So anyway, exercise, that's the other thing. But this is all common sense, isn't it? Are we really talking about anything that we don't know? So exercise is really important, getting your circulation going, and that breaks down inflammation also. We're meant to move. So, you know, we kind of just talk about having a healthy lifestyle, isn't it? Choices. It's not really rocket science. All right. But there is stuff that people just don't know. Let's say like the vegetable oils. A lot of people cook with vegetable oils. You go to a restaurant, they cook with, you know, vegetable oils. Right. And so, you know, maybe we could all learn something, but maybe we could just be reminded of what we could do to be healthier and happier, not just for us, but for all the people in our lives that we love and care for also, you know? All right. What I'd like everybody to do is maybe tonight, just write 3 takeaways. You know, something that you got from tonight. The food could be one of them. All right. And when you come back on your next visit, the next appointment, just give it to us. And we're going to post them up so other people could see, you know, what people got from being here.
I'll tell you one thing right now,
Oh, what's that?
should have come to see you a lot sooner.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have been, so many people are suffering needlessly. And on that note, if you know anybody, you know, who you think would benefit from chiropractic, and when you saw that chart about immunity, that's about really everybody. All right. There isn't anybody who isn't affected by stress in our lives right now. Please, you know, let them know. You know, and if they don't live close here, I know people all over the country that I could recommend. All right. So thank you. What time is it? Did we pass 7 o'clock?
6:59.
Hey, perfect, man. I'm not allowed to go. 7 o'clock. There we go. It's like perfect. Love you guys. I'm so happy that all you guys came tonight. I feel like we're trying to create a community of people here. And communities love to do it around food too, right?
So you're a science guy.
You know, my grandfather lived to be 90.
Mm-hmm.
He would drink a glass of wine every day. Every
Right.
day.
And
Never missed.
studies are showing too that that's actually not good for your longevity. But God bless him. It worked for him.
This is way of life. You know?
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Did he make the wine? Did he make the wine?
No, he did it when he was a young Italian. But when he got older, I used to buy it for him in a case of 4 gallons.
I know, because there's all these studies, you know, about the Mediterranean diet, and the Mediterranean people usually drink some wine with, but studies are showing that it really isn't that great for you. Everything else with the Mediterranean diet is great, but the wine, you know,
The alcohol's, it's all right for you to have a drink now and then.
yeah,
Like you said, moderation.
yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not a drinker myself, very rarely, but enjoy it once in a while.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I've been on this anti-inflammatory diet, and so I'm so limited, and I do miss having a drink after going skiing. And I want a nice cold beer. I can't wait till I can do that again. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and please eat some food.
Yeah.
There gotta be people who are, you couldn't have eaten enough.
It's delicious.
There's not enough there.
Yeah, thank you.
Eat that bad food.
Eat that bad food.
No.
I know it. Eggplant is a nightshade also. What's that?
Eat the tray of nightshade.
Yeah. It's so good.
You know what, you can treat yourself once in a while.